controversy for a while now in the Syro-Malabar Church about the liturgy, and I wanted to ask you about the current state of that dispute, basically.
Yeah. There is a controversy, tell you. But that controversy, according to me, is a little bit too much exaggerated by the media, especially the social media. The liturgy is celebrated from the same text. There is a little bit difficulty in implementing this in the Archdiocese of Ernakulam, which may be the largest diocese and which may be the central or principal city of Kerala. We have difficulty, but I, being elected as the Major Archbishop of the Syro-Malabar Church, wish to tell everybody, you shall not exaggerate the controversy beyond its real, actual situation.
Archbishop, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for taking the time. Maybe you could start us off by telling us a little bit about the Syro-Malabar Church, its history, its membership.
Syro-Malabar Church is one of the most active and missionary church among the Oriental Catholic churches in communion with the Roman Catholic Church. It is a church founded by Apostle Thomas. As per our tradition, Thomas came to India twice. First, he has gone to North India. And there's a place called Bharuch in Gujarat. Still there is a tradition that they belong to the Thomas Christians, because they proudly say that our apostle is Thomas. I have seen a lot of people with the name Thomas, and I have asked, it is Thomas Aquinas? They said no, it is Thomas the Apostle. The second visit was to Kodungalur and Kerala. Kodungalur is counted to be the capital city, and it was a Jewish commercial city. Therefore, I consider, from my point of view, Thomas came to Kodungalur and Kerala not in search of our forefathers, but as all other disciples had gone to the Jews, he had come to Kerala in search of the Jews. Sometimes people have asked me that who translated Thomas when he spoke Hebrew. The answer for me, the migrants. The migrants were the translators. And our church is a migrant church. Maybe because of the blood relations, we travel very much. The expansion of the Syro-Malabar Church from Kerala to all India and outside India to continents, you will be surprised to know that we have only 35 dioceses. Only 13 are in Kerala. 18 dioceses are outside Kerala in India. And 4 dioceses are outside India in 4 continents. USA, Australia, Canada, and Preston, England. So what I would like to tell you, ours is a missionary community migrating. Migration always is counted to be an attempt for missionary work.
And so you've just become the head of this church with this long history, which has now spread throughout the whole world, as you were saying. And I'm wondering, what are some of your priorities now as head of this church? What are some of the things you would like to do?
First of all, I would like to thank God, because this is the most powerful Oriental Catholic Church in Catholic Communion. And all other Oriental churches are very small. and the major share are non-Catholics, while the St. Thomas Christians, the major share are Catholics. And our forefathers always, with all persecutions from missionaries, never wanted to cut away our communion with Holy Father. Once there was a temptation in our church when they found their freedom is very much limited, they are being very much restricted by missionaries. One group decided to went away from Roman Catholic Communion, not willingly, but because of the circumstances. Even then, our forefathers said, with all these persecutions, with all these restrictions, we would like to remain Catholic and communion with the Holy Father. So I would like to proudly tell you, Syro-Malabar Church has never ever broken its communion to Holy See and Holy Father. The See of Rome we always counted to be the peak point of communion. So therefore, my wish that we should continue our mission in the Catholic Church as an Oriental Church, powerful Oriental Church, a very proactive Oriental Church, to do our mission, our ministry in the Catholic Communion.
And you spoke there of union with the Holy Father, with the Pope, and you met him recently. I was wondering how that meeting went, and also if you have any thoughts in general about his pontificate.
Yeah, and Holy Father was very paternal. Very paternal. I still remember my experience with my grandpa, always holding us together and catching. So I never felt I am in the presence of the Holy Father. Although he was a Holy Father, but he was dealing me come his son. And he was listening me as if I have something to tell him. The interest and the energy. And also, when I have spoke about the problems, his attitude of consolation. Don't worry. When you have a lot of horizons, problems are nothing. Problems make you more active. Problems make you more valid and credible. I think that this is a big encouragement. Problems are not the end of the world. It will make you more credible and more valuable. It was maybe an accident. I saw Holy Father 7:45 morning. Mm-hmm. I may be the first one received on that day. And it was 13th May, the day of Fatima.
Yeah.
The day of Fatima. It's coincidence, but I think it is very much predominantly relevant for our church, because our devotion to the church and Jesus is a devotion to Mary. I could tell you that our forefathers always recited rosary. And it may be a surprise for you that even today the Syro-Malabar families by 7:30 before supper kneels before the picture of Mother Mary to recite a rosary. And I would like to tell you that my experience, family experience, the only day when we did not have family prayer and rosary is Good Friday. Mm. From morning to evening, you will be in the church. So my mother was not a theologically formed lady. My mother used to tell that Jesus died. So even if we pray, he will not hear. That was her pietistic interpretation. But I would like to tell you, rosary is very close to our heart. And our church and our tradition still remains very much Marian in our spirituality. All the feasts of Mary is being celebrated with fast. For example, we have for the Nativity 8 days fast. We have 15 days fast for the Assumption. And we have also a fast of 25 days for Christmas and 50 days fast for the Lent.
So it's kind of a mixture of Western and Eastern devotions then, because the Rosary is a Latin devotion, no? It comes originally from Europe, whereas the fasting is more typical of the Eastern churches. So it sounds like there's a mixture of the two approaches.
Which I am not sure about.
Oh, yeah.
But I would like to tell you, the fasting tradition and doing penance is not from the Western church we have received. It is a culture of India. I would prefer to tell that maybe the fast connection with the feast may be Western, but the fasting tradition is from the Indian culture. Because for every celebration of an event, Hindus, even Indians, they do fast. So, all the feasts are preceded by fast. And like a culmination of the fast is the feast, celebration of the feast.
The feast. Yeah, interesting. So you mentioned earlier, you said that the Syro Malabar Church is maybe the most active of the Eastern churches, or certainly among the most active. And so I know you do a lot of missionary work, both within India and also outside of India. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about that.
I would like to tell you once in the history, most of the missionaries worked for the Latin Church in India after European missionaries, Syro Malabar missionaries. The Syro Malabar Church was so generous and gracious to provide to all the dioceses and religious congregations our vocations. And once there was about 30 bishops from Syro Malabar Church reigning the Latin diocese.
Wow.
And the Northeast, the Salesians. The Salesians did not have a province of the Syro Malabar Church, but almost all the Salesians are from the Syro Malabar Church. When I say all, there are exceptions. But I think generally the presence. And we did not insist for our ritual identity. No, our quality in doing our mission work comes from our ritual identity and our family traditions. So our church has always a missionary church, doing mission by ourselves and also helping the mission work after the European missionaries, the Latin Church also.
Yeah, very interesting. So I wanted to ask you as well about, there's been this controversy for a while now in the Syro Malabar Church about the liturgy, and I wanted to ask you about the current state of that dispute, basically.
Yeah. There is a controversy, I tell you. But that controversy, according to me, is a little bit too much exaggerated by the media, especially the social media. The liturgy is celebrated from the same text. Absolutely no change in the text. And we have decided, as per our Oriental tradition, the breaking of the word facing the people and breaking of the mystery, the bread, facing the altar. We have 35 dioceses and nobody tells that 34 dioceses followed it. There is a little bit difficulty in implementing this in the Archdiocese of Ernakulam, which may be the largest diocese and which may be the central or principal city of Kerala. We have difficulty, but I, being elected as the Major Archbishop of the Syro Malabar Church, wish to tell everybody, you shall not exaggerate the controversy beyond its real, actual situation. This controversy can be settled. I hope that it can be settled amicably. There is an issue of ego and a little bit emotions because 34 dioceses followed it. One diocese could not do it. one difficulty is that this diocese at present not have a bishop probe. They are under the care of a pontifical delegate, Cyril Vasil, and they are having an apostolic administrator. These two identities, that means pontifical delegation and apostolic administrator, tells you that this is a temporary controversy which can be settled by amicable discussions and friendly approaches and things like that. So I don't consider this controversy as the end of our church. No, it is the sprouting of our church. Now we will come over this difficulty and will flourish as we have to flourish. Because I have told you very clearly that among the Oriental churches, the most powerful Oriental church spread all over the world is the Syro-Malabar Church. And the church among the Oriental churches capable of doing missionary work meaningfully and significantly, even in India and outside India, the Syro-Malabar Church. So the Syro-Malabar Church will survive these difficult times and will do our portion.
That's wonderful. I've finished the questions I'd prepared. I don't know if there's anything you'd like to add before we end the interview. Anything I should have asked but I didn't ask.
Thank you very much, because this interview gives me an opportunity to tell about our church and about our country. And you have made that opportunity. And very much I tell you that your services, media service of Vatican, is very much appreciated by everybody not only in India, all over the world. Because I am a traveling bishop. I have traveled to everybody.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much, Bishop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.